All right, ladies and gentlemen, family, brothers and sisters, welcome again once more to to our lovely meeting, our lovely campaign of Jesus Christ, and who is our Savior, our salvation, our one way and only way. All right, all right, all right. Thank you for joining me today, and also if you guys have any question as far as anything that that has to do with this course or lesson, whatever the case is, how everybody or anybody take it, hopefully not negative, you could just type it in the comments. Today we were talking about what is it called, God delivered to his glory at his time, and this will be based off of chapter 11 of Saintjohn, right? Saintjohn. All right. And with this being the case, let's begin. All right. Now in verses 1 it says, "Now a certain man was sick named Lazarus," because this is going to be mainly about Lazarus until they get to the middle end. Give me one moment, please. I just felt something that kind of didn't settle well with my body. Whew. Thank you. Of course, also before I do start, I will give you guys a head notice. I won't be here for too long because last video I definitely said about 20 to 15 minutes, and I got a little bit into it too much. I will give you guys a bit of some time to recover because it was a lot that I said. So yes, let's start. Now a certain man was sick named Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. Right? Verses 2. "It was that Mary which anointed the Lord with anointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore his sisters sent unto him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom thou lovest is sick." Okay. Let's go to verses 4. "When Jesus heard that, he said, This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. When he had heard therefore that he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. Then after that saith he to his disciples, Let us go into Judea again. His disciples say unto him, Master, the Jews of late sought to stone thee, and goest thou thither again?" So what does that verse, what does those verses, say? We have one case where Jesus have a threatening enemy that basically are plotting against him, and he knows of it, which are the Jews, due to first that they had no belief, and they had the Pharisees who were manipulating them, right? Because he had done miracles on the Sabbath. Could you believe that? The Sabbath. The Messiah of all people. You're going to try to plot against him. Like he's not going to know exactly what you're thinking. My lips looking a little crazy. What you're thinking, what you're feeling, and how you're feeling, and what's the purpose of what you're feeling, and how it's even happening right there and then. So his disciples question him and say, okay, you're gonna go back to the Jews that wanted to stone you? That's a little bit infamous. But I'm gonna skip a few parts because he did say one thing. It's nothing much, but it is a lot in one place. Okay. Verses 11, because before we get there, he basically answered to them and said that, like, yeah, Lazarus is basically sleeping. He's not dead, because who can really be dead when you got him, you feel me, the guy himself telling you that, like, somebody is not dead? Like, are you gonna tell me that if God right now tells you that your brother that's passed away is not dead, are you gonna be like, are you gonna question it, or are you gonna go right to the grave and be like, all right, man, like, I said that you're not dead. You better wake up, man. You're gonna be hyped, right? They're all questioning him with doubt because they first don't understand, and they're fearful because they think that Jesus is gonna die. And mind you, he already know that his time is not gonna come yet because it hasn't come yet. So he knows that nothing is gonna happen to him, right? So we get to the part where he verses 11. It says, "These things said he, and after that he saith unto them, Our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go that I may awake him out of sleep." You feeling me? All right. I hope that I'm not moving too fast beyond you guys. Keep up, please, if you can't. Just rewind the video, however that it is. And for those that are in the comment any questions, anything so far, or anything that you might have, pointers for me, then we may revise this and get better clarity, or probably just get a different perspective on how we can get a higher revelation. I'm sorry, on this matter. Then on verse 12 he says, "Then said his disciples, Lord, if he sleep, he shall do well." Meaning, if somebody's sleeping and they're sick, they're gonna obviously come out of sickness because what? They're sick. They're not dead, right? But obviously Lazarus was dead. And Jesus basically had to say, like, okay, I'm telling you that he's sleeping because that's what I tell you. And even though physically, yes, he's dead, he's sleeping, because if I tell him to wake up, he's gonna wake up. And it says so in verses 14. Then said Jesus unto them, Plainly Lazarus is dead. So he's clarifying that, like, yes, I know that he's dead, but he's sleeping. It's not even a problem or an issue for me. Like, the man is sleeping, and I'm allowing that, because everybody from Mary to Martha was weeping. They were crying their eyes off like it was nothing. And it's a very sad story, understandable. But you got the man himself right there, so no worries. Rescue on the way. You feel me? Like, if this was Superman, it would be Superman on the way, underdog on the way. On every level. And so basically they parted their ways. They got their belongings and they headed straight to and they headed straight to basically Jerusalem, right, where in Bethany, where basically Lazarus was at, right? So this is going to probably get around where maybe verses 19 all the way to like 25 or something like that, right? So they're basically telling him to, they're basically telling Jesus all of these things. And after he hearing the news of this situation, they make him and his disciple make their way to Bethany in Jerusalem, right? And basically, once they get there, they're like, okay, a lot of people are following them, and they're just trying to see what's going on. Mind you, Martha was already at the grave, so she met Jesus there, and immediately she was like, "Hey, Son of God, the Messiah, I know that you can basically do something because I got faith in you," right? Because it says what in verse 23? Jesus saith unto her, Thy brother shall rise again, right? And then in verse 24 it says, Martha saith unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day, right? So she believed and know that Jesus came here for a purpose. So after they had the whole conversation, right, she says then in verses 27, she saith unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world. So obviously it states facts, right? So after that conversation, the chitter-chat, Martha disappeared from view, the scenery, and she ended up back to basically Mary's abode. And they discussed, and of course she told Mary exactly what was going on, right? And Mary was like, oh, Jesus is there? Oh, and say less. I'm going to pop up, you know what I'm saying? Ready to go. But of course, it's not the attitude that she was having. Like, that was her intention, but it wasn't the attitude. That I'm just lightening up the mood, because these people were crying. Like, even Jesus cried himself, and it wasn't because it was just a sad situation. He cried because they had that much faith in him and knew that like he could do something. They had a lot of faith in him, and not only that, right? Remind you, a lot of people that basically were around Jesus, that means a lot of his family were also targeted. So if Jesus was targeted, his family was targeted as well. But it wasn't everybody that was